I already know with the reviews because this came out during Sundance. This is very, very divisive. Chase Lehocky here with the Blue Futon reviewing In a Violent Nature. This is something I had to repeat the title twice because it makes me understand what it's trying to say. But anyway, what's this about? Pretty simple premise because, let's be honest, this one is no story. There's a bad guy, I think his name is Joey in this movie instead of Jason Voorhees or things like that. But, is it Joey? Is it Joey? Johnny. Come on, Chase. Johnny wakes up from the dead because his mother's necklace disappears. Now he's going to try to find his mother's necklace. And that's it. But what this movie does differently is how it is shot. A lot of it is shot behind Johnny about to kill these people. And that's about it. When you do get to the overall killing aspect, yes, the camera does change. But it is very stationary of we are following someone about to murder people. And that is it. You'll say these are some crazy-ass kills, very low budget, and the low budget shows when the prosthetics do occur, especially with a log splitter, as well as a pretzel twist, as well as something in the very beginning with a head getting cut off. Props were good, but very low budget. I could appreciate that they kept everything in frame. I also could appreciate that they try to keep everything practical. But at a point, you got to make sure it looks a little bit better when it comes to this. And this is shot by a 4x3 frame, and that's either going to like it or not. This is a weird movie. This is a weird movie to review because when going into this movie, I really did expect some walkouts. There's about 10-ish people in my movie theater, no walkouts. I was intrigued what people were going to say when the credits rolled. Were they going to talk about the movie? Deadpan silence. So I'm either they have nothing to say, or they hated the movie, or they had to think about the movie. But you know how when sometimes the credits when people that movie fucking sucked, or that was so badass, or some claps, deadpan. And I was just okay, it's hard to get a read from the room. But just already getting some comics with with my out of the act reaction theater, the first reaction, people were underwhelmed with this movie because there was no story. The acting's pretty shitty. And the overall premise is just trying something different with a horror element. And it works on some extent, but when I also laughed, okay. I know I'm kind of jumbling around with this movie because shit is coming to me and I don't do a script because I feel like a script is just so by the books of what other YouTubers do. It's just time to just what's on my mind. The pretzel one. That's all I'm going to say. You'll know what the pretzel one is when you see it. But I intentionally laughed because of the bombasticness of it. The last time I laughed or something like that was Terrifier 2 with the bedroom scene. And I was just this is fucking ridiculous. And I do like the ridiculousness of it. But you can say it does drag. Because there's a lot of scenes where it's you're following Johnny about for 5, 15, 30 seconds. Then it jump cuts to him walking again, but just in a different part of the woods. 15, 30 seconds goes by, jump cut again. Or there are other times, especially with the water one, where it focuses on the water one for, I swear to God, 3 to 4 minutes. And you're just when is this going to happen? When is it going to happen? I understand the tension because there is no score in this film. And I do like that. Horror movies need to have less score because people use it as a cheapskate jump scare. And when you know it's quiet, you know something's going to occur. Here, it doesn't do that. And it's really good. And I think what is also really good, though, is how he keeps everything in frame. And I think people need to realize the hardcoreness of that is because when you don't have these jump cuts, as a filmmaker and as a viewer, a lot of people I don't think don't appreciate it. For example, like I said, the water one, it could be 4 or 5 minutes and you're what is happening? But you got to appreciate you can't tell where the cuts are because I don't think there's a cut. So you're thinking Johnny's going under the water. So there's got to be, people under the water making sure that they have, oxygen to stay underwater. And to do that is really freaking good. Of course, that is because, when Johnny goes, there's a pier. So you could tell he's probably just turning, coming here. And when the director says go, he walks out of the water. And when walking out of the water, let's put it this way also, because I'm jump cutting everything I talk about in this film, the mask that they use for the firefighter, that is going to be a cult mask now. I'll say it right now, cult mask in the making. But also, there are fun ones where a head splat with a rock in frame. There's nothing cut, so you're wondering how did they do that? Because there are other parts where you kind of know when someone kind of gets their head cut off, where the, okay, that is where the kind of jump cut is, because that one they did have to do something different. Or with the log splitter, of course you could tell where the fake arm, fake legs, fake, head is, but they do something interesting where you can still see the eye moves, and you're thinking, okay, was that post-production, or was that more of a mannequin with moving eyes? Because the good thing is, it stays in frame, so it does make you wonder, how did he do this? So there are interesting movie-making elements that do make you think. But I think the overall package can be underwhelming. It does feel like a Sundance movie through and throughout. Kind of like that movie, Unhandling the Dead, is that what it's called? Which I did not like that movie whatsoever. And someone has asked me now to do explain the movie, which is going to be hard for me because I did watch it in January and it's 6 months later. So do I remember everything about the movie? No. So I'm going to have to do like a quick, okay, let me think what happened in that movie. But I think this movie, in a violent nature, was intriguing enough to be a positive for me. However, I am not going to fault anyone who hated this movie, but when I think about a movie like this, and that's a Shudder movie as well, I think of Cinemarink, or I call it Cinematic, because I hated that movie, and this one is a lot better. So in a violent nature will receive a 3 out of 5 with Futons, which equals that 60%. Let's see the critics' news scores gave this one. Critics, 87%. Me, 60%. Audience score, 45%. 105 audience, over 100 audience, 105 critics. Critic consensus. A single-mindedly focused on mayhem as a demonic monster in a violent nature serves up a deliciously disgusting feat of gore. Avanzo? I don't know how to say that word. I'm stupid as shit. All right. Also, the monologue at the end, I was a little bit intrigued at, because the whole point is nature's violence, humans are violent. When you don't think about the world itself, everything is violent. 87, 60, 45. Chase like here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if things Butontopia. You Blue Futoners think watch a great down. Watch take tomorrow, week from now, month from now, a year from now, every single freaking one of you. I think that's the message of this movie. Everything in nature is violent.